So The Intercept is reporting on a heartbreaking story. An ICE detainee diagnosed with schizophrenia spent 21 days in solitary confinement, then took his own life. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole article here. If you want more of the details, I'll leave the link in the video description box, and you could take a look for yourself. But here's what I will tell you. They say, Efraín Romero's suicide came at the end of 21 days in solitary confinement, according to investigators. Romero had been previously diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, according to documents from the Virginia Department of Corrections. His death parallels a case from May 2017 when 27-year-old Jean Jimenez Joseph, another Stewart detainee, that's a private prison, with a mental health diagnosis, killed himself at the facility after 19 days in solitary confinement. The United Nations has previously said that such confinements could constitute torture, and ICE itself has issued strict directives about isolating detainees, including specifically on segregating people with mental health conditions for extended periods. Okay, so again, if you want all the specifics of this case, look in the video description box. You can read the whole article for yourself, but to me, the thing that's just absolutely, I can't wrap my mind around it, is that this is a recurring thing. This has happened a bunch of times. And they even codify in the rules, hey, don't do solitary confinement, especially for people who have mental health issues. But ICE is doing it anyway. And then again, this reminds me of the story where somehow the only show that brings up over and over is that there are allegations that ICE is doing slavery. They're doing forced labor at private prison centers. So that seems like a big deal to me, and nobody talks about it. And that's like, you know, one of the main reasons why I want to abolish ICE. Now, that doesn't mean abolish borders. We have Customs and Border Protection, and I'm fine with border protection. Totally fine with it. But I do want to abolish ICE because it's overkill. We already have Customs and Border Protection. It was created in 2003 under the Bush administration after 9/11. And there's just endless documented abuses from ICE, and it's unnecessary. So, and then when you mix in, they even say don't do solitary confinement, but they're doing solitary confinement. They're not in control. So they're not following even what they're supposed to be doing. And solitary confinement really is torture. I mean, we've covered stories going back years now about the effects that solitary confinement has on a human being. We're social creatures. And when you take away that as an option and you just lock somebody away from all human contact for an extended period of time, you can definitely make them go crazy. Definitely make them go crazy. And you might think you're the strongest person out there, but if you're put in that situation, wow. Definitely if you have any like underlying pre-existing kind of condition that maybe hasn't been diagnosed yet or hasn't shown itself, it can make those conditions come out. Because it destroys you as a person. So it's torture in the first place. Never mind doing it and doing it to somebody with a mental health issue. Never mind doing it and you're only doing it to somebody who came into this country to try to create a better life. Now, again, as I've said a million times, I think I'm more of a moderate on the issue of border protection. I would definitely do a deal. If somebody's an undocumented immigrant, but they've been here for an extended period of time and they've been working and they're part of this country and they haven't committed any crimes, okay, I'm totally fine with letting them stay here. I'm fine with basic border protection if somebody just gets in the country or something like that, as long as you can do the research and make sure, okay, if it's asylum, that's a different story and perhaps they should be allowed to stay here. If it's not asylum, yeah, you could deport somebody. I'm not against all deportations. I would definitely deport violent criminals. But if you're taking somebody who's an undocumented immigrant and then you decide, I'm going to lock them up, in some cases they're doing slavery. In other cases, they take people and do solitary confinement and their only crime was coming into this country undocumented. Oh, come the fuck on, man. That's insanity. That's overly punitive and really unethical. And you're doing endless damage. I mean, again, multiple times now this has happened. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. But I guarantee you mainstream media won't pick up on stories like this because, you know, I don't know what the reason is. I really don't. I don't know why they wouldn't cover this. but it strikes me as an important issue and something that should be addressed. And perhaps it's another piece of information that should be included in the discussion when we talk about abolishing ICE.